Welcome back to Plow and Sword Homestead. It is Friday morning, very overcast, very wet and humid here in north central Florida, zone 8B, depending on where you are in our county. And we are going to do what is probably going to be my favorite garden tour of this season because we are super grown out here. Everything is green and beautiful, and we've been harvesting vegetables, and it is right before the time when the pests really start to overtake everything. The disease gets gross. I'm already starting to see some powdery mildew in some spots, but for the most part, it is absolutely beautiful in this garden, so I'm very excited to take you on the tour this morning. Right behind me is sunflowers, sunflower row. We did the sunflowers on the front border of the garden, and it's also on that side. That side's not as tall as this side because those were started probably 2 weeks after these were started. But yes, these are already probably, what, 6 feet? Over 6 feet?
That's pushing 7 feet right there.
And they're not even close to blooming, so they might be 8 or 9 feet, which is super exciting. I don't think I've grown these tall of sunflowers in several years. So I'm excited for these to bloom. Let's go on through the bean cathedral. So we still need a door for this area, but for now we're just using these panels and we shed it at night. So we finally got some stuff on here. These are pole beans, and they're going really good. These will get up to like 30 feet long. And once they hit up top, they won't grow down. They'll just grow along the top of the bean cathedral. And on this side, we have birdhouse gourds. I grow these every year, and
we never make birdhouses.
We never make birdhouses with them because something happens to them every year. Now last year, when I had them curing in the garage, when they're done, they look like something that's just rotted. But that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to cure them. And my mom didn't know what I was doing because I didn't communicate, and she threw them all away. So this year, she knows, everyone knows, when these birdhouse gourds are done and they've dried out and they're brown, then we will paint them and finally make some birdhouse gourds. Come on. The tomato trellising is finally up. Not all of it, but these were the most emergency situation. These really needed trellising because they were getting massive and overgrown. In this area we have floridades and mushroom baskets, and I'm so excited. I've never grown mushroom baskets before, but they are so cute. I adore the way these tomatoes look. They really do look like little mushrooms, or like mushroom tops. I love them. Now we've already had some tomato hornworm damage, but as far as we know, we've taken care of the one that did it all.
Extensive damage from one hornworm.
I mean, well, I don't know. It looks like maybe there's some more down there. From what I understand, the best way to take care of these hornworms is to come out here at night with a black light, shine it on, because that's how you'll be able to see them. In the daytime, they're extremely difficult to see because they look like the tomato plant.
Camouflage.
And once you do see them, boy, are they gross. They have a thing on the back end of them that really looks like it would hurt you, but apparently it doesn't at all.
A horn.
A horn. But you can pick them up with your hand. But they will decimate a tomato garden bed, like so fast, especially if there's 2 or 3. And they'll grow, they'll start out this big and they'll grow throughout the day. So if you have one, if it looks like you have tomato hornworm damage, definitely take care of that. Let's see if we can find one.
There's little one down there.
Down here. Here it is. Was this always like this? Was this the one?
This was the first one we noticed.
Okay, so then this one, so we got the tomato.
We already got growth back on that.
Yeah. So if for the most part your tomato plant will come back if it's not super destroyed. And this one, does this one have? Oh no, this is a separate plant. So these obviously need to be trellised. That is a weird looking tomato. I'm not sure what this is. Let's see. These are, oh, San Marzanos. I've never grown these, but these are paste tomatoes, and I'm very excited. I hope I get a decent harvest of these this year because I want to make more tomato sauce like I did last year, but I didn't use paste tomatoes last year. I don't think I grew any. So my tomato sauce, it was delicious, but it was, you know, a little bit more liquidy, and I want some thick tomato sauce this year.
Hold this up.
Hold this one up. Okay.
There's like, that's a comparable height. So there's the normal top, nice and leafy.
Yeah.
And then the damaged one
the
is
damage. But see, look, it grows back.
Leaves.
It grows back. If your soil is healthy and your plants are healthy, it will grow back. Tomatoes, oh babe. Tomatoes love to grow. Now, alongside the tomatoes, we have some marigolds that are going really well. And on the other side of the tomatoes, we have a lot of basil. And marigolds and basil, and then we also have huckleberry, which we've got a huckleberry plant that's really thriving. Let's go over this way. Here it is. Look at all of the berries. I love it. These do a great job of attracting pests away from the tomatoes and to the huckleberry plants. So I'm excited to get huckleberries, but I care about these less than I care about the tomatoes. So if this gets damaged, I don't care. We've got a few more. Most of my huckleberry plants didn't make it, but some of them are coming back, and I've got more growing. But I put huckleberries, basil, and marigolds in this bed to attract bugs away from the tomatoes, because tomatoes are our cash crop. Those are our favorite. And last year we grew, I mean,
hundreds of pounds?
No, way more than hundreds of pounds, I think. Just a crazy amount, a nightmarish amount of tomatoes.
For people who weren't selling them.
For people who weren't selling them. So this year we actually are taking them to market, so we want to get a decent yield like we did last year. So we're doing a lot of work to keep these tomatoes healthy. Okay, so right here we have our sweet pepper bed with canterbury bells at the front of it. In some of the earlier videos, I talked about how puny and pathetic my peppers look for like 5 to 6 months, and then they explode. And that's exactly what's happening. These look amazing. They all have little blooms on them, or most of them do. And so they have definitely made their comeback, and we will start to harvest. We usually start to harvest mid-June with the peppers. And then on the back row, we've got our eggplants, which are doing so well. They look beautiful. They also they'll look puny for a really long time, and then they'll explode. Okay, this is the blue Hubbard squash and patty pan squash bed. And I have never grown blue Hubbard squash before, but wow. This thing is as prolific as my Seminole squash plants have been. There are, I don't know, at least 10 blue Hubbards on here. Here's one. It's really big and beautiful.
Wow, that's bright.
Yeah, and it'll turn blue or green as it matures. Those, oh yeah.
Melons getting bigger.
So I have harvested probably 20 or 30 patty pan squash out of this area. I haven't harvested any blue Hubbard yet because they need a good time to mature and cure on the plant. But these will act like winter squashes. And apparently inside, I've never grown them, but inside they will have sweet orange flesh, which makes a great puree, great for soups. And the patty pan squashes we've just been slicing and sauteing or grilling. I sold several at the market. Those went really well. People love them. They're a unique shape. Let me see if I can harvest one. You see one?
Yeah, there's one there.
Yeah, let's get this one.
Oh, that one's yucky.
No, it's not yucky. Oh. So this one's a little rounder. Sometimes they're a little more disc shaped, but this is a patty pan. a yellow one. I just last night seeded some white patty pan squashes. They're called moonbeam squash, and I'm excited to sell those because they're a little bit sweeter in my experience. Here is another huckleberry, and we've got some berries that are ripening. If you have huckleberries in your garden, do not eat the berries green. Wait until they are a dull matte black before you harvest them, and they're not going to taste like much of anything raw, but if you make a jam with them, they'll be delicious. Over here is one of the most magical things we've ever done. I will never go back to little packets of seeds when it comes to flowers. I will be buying in bulk from now on because this is the result of seeding bulk seeds. This is so beautiful. During the day, the amount of butterflies and bees and dragonflies out here is like something from a zoo, like when you go to a butterfly garden. And I can't get enough. It's so pretty. It adds such wonder and beauty to the garden. These are a scabiosa mix of zinnias, and the scabiosa, let me see if I can find a good one. What you doing? Let's come over here. Let me find a good, here, look. So the scabiosa mix will have this like plumage on top and then petals that come out from the bottom. And I just love that. I love it. Over here, we have zucchini. We have a lighter variety of zucchini. It's more of a silvery with like green veins. It's very pretty. I can't remember the name. I'll need to look that up and put it in the description below. And over here, I think we have, oh. Aww. What did you catch?
A dragonfly.
You sure did.
Daddy, did you take a picture?
Yeah.
Over here we have Zapalito de Tronco, I think is what
The big one?
they're called. Yeah, that like whole row.
Okay.
And these are like they're circular squash, and they're so delicious. They have almost no moisture content, so they're very, very creamy, much like an avocado. So if you can get your hands on some seeds, I would definitely grow those. They're fantastic. Here we've got calendula that is really like, that's just exploded. And I need to harvest some because calendula is great for natural remedies. So right down here, I have my bells of Ireland, which I finally succeeded at. They're so beautiful. Next year, I'm gonna do a whole border of these.
Ireland.
I've tried these for years and I've never gotten them to really get going. They'll maybe get this big, but I did it. And I'm so happy because they're beautiful. And anything with the word Ireland in it has to be in my garden.
I'll say Bells of Ireland with the accent.
Bells of Ireland. Back here we have Seminole pumpkin, which has really taken off, as you can see. I haven't seen any little pumpkins yet, but there's definitely a lot of flowers in here, so they're coming. And as we make our way along this side, we've got purple bush beans, which I need to come out here and harvest.
Hang on.
When you cook these, they will turn green. So they're only purple raw, but they are pretty, especially against these emerald green leaves. And then we have some watermelon, which there's finally one right here. These are sugar babies. And the reason I decided to do sugar baby is because they're small and bugs love to eat my watermelons. So like the sooner I can harvest them, the better. Last year I actually did grow some watermelons that were this big, but they did not taste good. And I don't even know what it was that I planted. And it might have just been a volunteer, I'm not sure, but they weren't good. Sugar babies are delicious. So I'm excited for those. And right here we have Kajari melons, which are great to grow in the south because they are pretty disease and pest resistant. They will get diseased, but they'll just keep pushing through. So these are great to grow. I know it's late in the season to start stuff, but I will always say, if someone asks me, is it too late to start something? Maybe, but start it anyway, because you might be pleasantly surprised and get a decent harvest before the jungle takes over.
No.
Okay.
I mean,
So right here we have strawberries, which they're done producing for now. But they've sent off a lot of shoots or runners.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see if this will just become the whole.
That's a runner
Yeah.
from that plant over there.
From all the way over here, it's gone under the mulch and it's all the way down here. And then I have some herbs in this one. I've got thyme, which this I grew from seed. Some, what is this, chamomile? It's not doing great. We've got marjoram, which smells incredible, and then another chamomile. I think these two are just struggling because I put them in recently and they need to get a foothold. I've got some sage and some baby's breath left. I also put some okra in this bed, but it's not doing great. My okra this year is struggling, and I might have just seeded it too soon. So I need to get back out here and seed some more, because our main okra bed over here is like really sad. Here's one okra. This is probably the only one that's doing really well. It looks great. Oh, and there's already like a little thing that will grow. This one's okay. This one's sad. This one's been eaten up. So this whole thing had okra in it, and now it doesn't. So I have to reseed it. There's a spearmint plant right in the center of it to just help. Like when you put herbs in with vegetables, that can help to deter pests. It's not gonna fully deter them, but it will hold some of them off. Here's the hot pepper bed, and these are rocking, as Emery would say. These look so great, and this was the pepper bed that looked the worst a month ago. I have had to replace a couple, but I'm so excited. Let's see, what are these? Ooh, these are ahi mangoes. I've never grown these. This bed is dedicated to Daniel, my husband, because he adores hot stuff. He will eat the hottest of the hot when it comes to hot sauce and peppers. He's done the last dab from, what is that show called?
Hot Ones.
The Hot Ones, or just Hot Ones. The Hot Ones. So we've got ahi mangoes, we've got scorpion peppers in here.
Ooh.
Classic jalapenos. What? Oh, that is a shishito. That's the first pepper.
First pepper?
First pepper. And I believe that's shishito. So, yay. We've got a cucumber mess here. I'm not sure why I planted cucumbers here, because this wasn't a bed I was planning on putting trellising in, but we have had a pleasant surprise. I really struggle to grow cucumbers.
cucumbers!
I know. And I've always trellised them, because you're supposed to trellis them, right? You're supposed to get them off the ground. Well, this was a happy accident. This is the most cucumbers I've ever gotten. And here's one right here. Oh, it's a big one.
Whoa. Ew.
I did it, finally.
A normal
cucumber.
regular cucumber.
I can only ever grow lemon cukes, which are balls. Those are the only ones I can seem to
Or
grow.
did the silver slicers last year?
Yeah, and they were okay.
Yeah.
But here's just your standard cucumber. I don't even remember what variety this is. But it's a pickling cucumber. And I threw seeds in here. I didn't trellis them. They are mulched, and I'm getting a bunch of these a day. So I think we've figured out how we can grow cucumbers, and it is not with trellising. Over here is the herb bed. Now this looks like maybe an anteater came in, but that's not what happened. I seeded some moonbeam squash in here last night, and I think being surrounded by all of these herbs will actually keep these squash from getting disease and pests. We've got a lot of chamomile, toothache plant, peppermint, rosemary, yarrow, a lot of catnip. I don't know why I planted so much catnip, but we have a lot, and those actually sold really quickly at the market last Saturday. People were excited to buy catnip, so I will probably be taking a lot more to the next market because people love to make their cats drunk.
Oh, it just went to the sunflower. Hang on.
Well, that's the one you flicked off the sunflower. The cilantro has bolted, which I'm fine with because I would love to get the seeds off of it. The flowers are so pretty. Look at them.
Wait, come on.
There we go. Really pretty. Once it bolts, once anything bolts, you don't really want to eat it. The flavor changes. You can. It's not going to hurt you. But what this plant is doing is it's sending up flowers because it's going to seed because it wants to reproduce. Ella's picking a lot of pickles. Are you the pickle girl? Good job, Ella. And then we have lots of oregano that has taken off. It's doing great. It'll spread throughout this whole bed if I let it. And some echinacea. And I have a pepper. I put 3 pepper plants in this bed surrounded by these herbs just to protect them. And I didn't have a spot for them in the other pepper bed. I don't remember what peppers I planted here. So we will find out if they are hot or sweet.
This is some sort of gourd type
Oh yeah.
thing.
Well, what I did about a month ago was any spot that something was dead or gone, I put a squash seed in. So there's like random squash and zucchini plants all over the garden. Back here we have some more zucchini, which some might be ready to, oh, here's a good one. There's 2 good ones. This variety is just so pretty. I know we can grow the standard green zucchini, but
Everybody does that.
everybody does that. And when I show it to the market, I have the rare breeds and the oddities, and people really seem to enjoy that, and I enjoy it. Grow stuff you want to grow. Ooh, a pumpkin. So back here, these are squash that they've just had some trouble getting going, but they are green now. And they seem to be healthy. So hopefully we'll get some regular yellow squash soon.
Example of one that struggles and flowers.
Too soon.
Yeah.
When they're super tiny and they're struggling, they will send up a flower to just try to reproduce. You can pick those off and fertilize it, and that should help it. That's what I did with all of these, and these right here look like those.
Hang on, Ella. All right. You said these.
Yeah, these looked like those a couple weeks ago, and now they're doing well. I gave them some of the water from the duck pool, and now they're doing great. Let's look at these. Look at these.
Mama.
Baby. Okay. Look at the cosmos. I actually didn't plan to put cosmos here. This is the wildflower border, but I ran out of wildflower seeds. And I had extra cosmos, so I seeded them here. And I must have gone heavy, because wow. This is so magical. And I'm gonna be sad when this is done. But I've been enjoying this every single day when I come out into the garden. Right here we have Cinderella pumpkin, and there's one in the bed. Actually, there's several little ones, but here's the biggest one so far.
Wait a minute. I'm just curious to see if those bees will pick up on the audio.
We accidentally grew, well, I didn't accidentally grow anything. The pasture grew this last year, our front pasture. I must have thrown a
We threw a whole
pumpkin
out,
to the
yeah.
pigs, and we had a huge pumpkin patch that none of our animals touched until one day they ate the whole thing. But I managed to get 3 or 4 huge pumpkins, like Cinderella pumpkins, off of it before the animals got it. So I saved the seeds from those, and that's what's growing here right now. And then back here we have,
What about the little onions coming up?
oh yeah. And in this bed with the pumpkins, I've got some green onions along the sides. And I just weeded these to give them some more space because the weeds were overtaking them. Right here, we've got what I'm just calling a green lumpy pumpkin.
I found a pumpkin.
it's got, somebody tried to bite it, but it's really hard. So this was one that I bought at our local produce market last year. It was just a big green lumpy pumpkin for decoration. And then I harvested the seeds from it. And so we've got several. There's a lot of them, a lot of little ones, but this is the biggest one. Oh, there's another one. Wow, that's green. That's weird. That looks different than...
Well, Mommy, it has.
Oh, there's
this
beans.
one.
There's a lot of green beans.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got
Oh
a
yeah,
harvest.
that's right.
Are those ready, Mommy?
All right. Over here, we've got more Seminole pumpkins. On this side, I hilled them, or I made a hill in the middle and I put seeds around the hill. And on that side, I just did rows, and I wanted to see what would work better. And this got going much faster than the rows, but they kind of look about the same. These are a bit bigger. The leaves are bigger than the ones over there. I haven't checked in here to see if there's any pumpkins yet. Do you see any? Oh, there's a little one.
Wait, what? Where?
I grew, I think off of 2 plants last year, I grew at least 20. I was giving them away because we couldn't eat them all. There was so many. Right here we've got amaranth, which normally amaranth gets to be like this tall, like as tall as me. And I'm wondering if it's not getting tall because it's on the side of the garden that is in the shade a lot of the time. But regardless, it is definitely doing its job. You can see a lot of plant damage and leaf damage, and anything to detract pests from my vegetables is what I want. And what these will do is they will keep going regardless of the damage. And here's a random squash. I'm telling you, I put random squash everywhere.
Oh, these things got chomped by the...
They sure did. So
They're coming back.
this is called bunny tail grass. So it'll shoot little flowers up and they'll look like bunny tails. But these got chomped pretty hard by our cows who got into the garden one night before it was fenced. And they've all come back except for these two, but all down the row. And I don't know when they're supposed to put up their little plumes, but hopefully they will soon because I want to see them. Right here we have green beans, which I can now see I need to harvest.
That one is huge.
That's huge. Oh man, I didn't know these had beans on them yet because they're green and I didn't see them. Hopefully those are edible. That's big. When they get
Ella.
big, they get woody.
Hold it up, Ella. Hold it
Hold
up.
it up.
To me.
Take it. Okay. And next to them, I've got the lemon cucumber, which I grow every year because it's the only cucumber I've been able to grow until this year. Right here we've got silver slicers. Let's see. Ooh.
Oh, wow.
These are great. Mild. I will often eat one while I am gardening because this is a great way to hydrate yourself without having to walk all the way back to the house and get water.
Cosmos are all coming up on the back.
Yes, the cosmos are finally starting to do something back here. I didn't seed them as heavily as I thought, so there's a lot of patchiness. There's more flowers on that end. But I think maybe this will be the Bells of Ireland side next year. I don't think I see any lemon cucumbers yet. So we're at the end of our tour, and we're at the back end of the tomatoes. It seems like this year, this bed, I don't know if you can see it on video, but it starts high, it slopes in the middle, and then it kind of evens out at the bottom. And what we've noticed this year and last year, when we had other things in this area, was the middle struggles. So 2 years of observation, we see this, like the tomatoes in the middle of the tomato bed are not doing great. They're not dying and they're not dead, but I've had to pull several out.
Yeah.
And they're just not as big as the tomatoes on the front and on the back. So this is something we need to work on for next year, for the winter garden maybe. filling it in with more soil, which is going to be a little bit of an expense, but we want stuff to grow well in the center of the garden.
No,
And
not if I can grow enough soil.
yeah, so Daniel has started a big compost pile over there.
Finally.
And hopefully that's what we will add to the middle of this bed to amend it, and so that things can just grow better there. And I think that that's also what's going on in the okra bed. That's also kind of in the center. And you can see this garden is completely full except for like the center of the tomatoes and the okra bed. These two areas, which are in the same spot, are just not doing well. So we need to figure out what's wrong. I think that soil just gets washed out. Look at this basil. It was struggling so bad, and now look at it. Another thing we've noticed that has really helped the garden explode is the rains. Now we have drip irrigation throughout this entire thing. Every single bed and every single row has its own hose. And so things are well watered, but no amount of your own water grows these plants like a hard rain. Now hopefully if your plants will survive the hard rain and the winds. Like in Florida, we have some intense thunderstorms, and we've had several in the last 2 weeks. Lightning. But after that hard rain we had last week, tomatoes bounced back, the basil exploded. So while you can be prepared and you can have water and you can have fertilizer, nothing works like nature. The rain is what gives life to these plants, and while we don't enjoy when the rain causes disease, it does seem like plants need rain, specifically rain, to grow. Ellie, you need a harvest basket, baby.
That's why I need a basket out.
Why don't you take these inside, because we're going to come inside. Okay, we're done. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today on this magical May garden tour. I will see you again in a few weeks for our next tour, and hopefully things won't be totally eaten up and diseased. Have a great day.